season of the witch, the night no one comes home.
Halloween 3 is a film that I feel gets a lot of unwarranted hate, and for the most part I can really understand that. When I first watched this film, I thought it would be a continuation of the Michael Myers story that for some reason was never shown during the Halloween movie marathons that came on certain movie channels. Little did I know that this was not the case, and certainly was the reason as to why this film failed so horribly upon release. Critics panned it, audiences booed it, and everyone felt that they had been lied to. Due to the success of Halloween 2, the studios behind the films wanted to continue the Halloween series, despite the fact that director John Carpenter had no desire to continue it. Regardless, the studio told him that they'd be making the movie with or without him, so we decided to stay on board for the project. Since Michael Myers was killed off in the last film, Carpenter decided to convince the studio to allow them to go a different route with the film franchise and make it more of an anthology series in which each film in the series would be a different story about Halloween. An idea that probably would have worked if they didn't already do a sequel to the Michael Myers story. Director at the helm, Tommy Wallace, would come to realize that audiences wanted more Michael Myers and would try to get the studio to change the name of the film to Season of the Witch, after one of Wallace's favorite Donovan songs. The studio denied this request, and what we got was Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. A lot of people still hate this film, but I feel like it's a lot more of an enjoyable experience if you watch this as a standalone film, rather than another Halloween film in the Halloween franchise. And when you look at it with that lens, it's not a bad film. The film opens up with an old man holding a Halloween mask being chased by strange men in suits who attempt to choke him to death. Thankfully, he manages to get away and is taken to the hospital by a good Samaritan. We're also introduced to the hero of this film, Dr. Chalice, played by the legend himself, Tom Atkins. I like his character, as he's not your typical movie hero. He's older, gruffer, unfaithful, and has a few questionable motives for being involved in the events of this film. But he kicks ass, so it makes for a unique character. Dr. Chalice finds himself involved in this strange conspiracy after the old man from the beginning is killed by one of the men in suits. He decides to get more involved when the daughter of the old man comes to the hospital to identify the body, and she wants to find out what's responsible for his death. I guess the reasoning for him joining in on this crusade is because he's curious, I guess. That, or he just really wants to get some with Ellie here. What follows in the film is very different from other Halloween films, as our main characters try to find answers from the mask-making corporate entity known as Silver Shamrock. Despite the fact that the connections between this film and the first film are very little, this has to be the best Halloween film I've seen. And by Halloween film, I mean related to the holiday of Halloween, not an actual Halloween film. The original Halloween could literally take place at any time and still be the same movie. You don't have Halloween 3 if it doesn't take place on Halloween. I've enjoyed nearly every John Carpenter movie I've ever seen, so Halloween 3 is no exception. That being said, there are a few things I don't care for in this film. For example, some of the characters are a little campy, motivations for some characters can be weak, and the movie can have a pretty bleak tone, which works both as a good thing and a bad thing for me. There's also the score to this film, which I'm a bit divided on. It can go from having a good beat and feel to literally just being noise. It both works and takes away from the film altogether. Another gripe I have is that this movie isn't really scary. I'd consider it more of an action mystery than horror. The main antagonists of the film are pretty basic as well. Silver Shamrock has these little henchmen that run around and try to choke people, but really they're just guys in suits that have obscene amounts of strength. Fun fact, one of them is actually played by stuntman Dick Warlock, who played Michael Myers in Halloween 2. To connect the other Halloween films for a moment, Jamie Lee Curtis is also in this film as the town announcer, and Nancy Loomis is also in this film as well as Dr. Chalice's wife. You might remember her for her role as Annie in Halloween 1. Overall, I think Halloween 3 is a film that gets a bad rap from people who are angry they didn't get the film they wanted. Again, it's an anger that I can understand, but in the end, the studio realized what fans wanted and they brought Michael Myers back in Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I never really liked those movies. Hell, I even liked Rob Zombie's remake better than those, but I digress. Just take Halloween out of the name of this movie, just call it Season of the Witch. It's nothing amazing, but it's a fun time and a good watch if you want to get in the Halloween mood.